In the early 1900s, one family's name was synonymous with some of the finest country houses in America, including these in Glen Cove, Nassau County. Exhibiting a wide variety of styles and influences, these grand homes are the handiwork of Delano and Aldrich, Charles Adams Pratt, and Trowbridge and Ackerman. Designed by some of the most elite architects of the time, situated in the midst of beautiful landscapes and preserved to this day, these homes illustrate the motto of the Pratt family. The story begins in 1830. One of 11 children, Charles Pratt was born to a Massachusetts carpenter. He built a successful business, Astral Oil, and became a leading philanthropist in Brooklyn. When John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil acquired Pratt's company in 1874, the proceeds allowed a dream to become reality. Charles Pratt dreamed of founding an institution where pupils could learn trades through the skillful use of their hands. Pratt Institute opened its doors in 1887 as one of the earliest schools to provide education to the working class. Pratt engaged some of the leading architects of the day to design the campus, including Lamb and Rich, William Tubby, and McKim, Mead, and White. Only 4 years later, Charles Pratt died, leaving the job of guiding the Institute through its early years to his sons. Charles Pratt Jr. became board chair, while Frederick took over the daily operation of the Institute itself. Generations of the Pratt family have provided visionary leadership for the Institute ever since, including the current chair of the Board of Trustees, Mike Pratt. Pratt Institute is also educating the next generation of historic preservation professionals by offering a master's degree that goes beyond the bricks and mortar of preservation. As private citizens and as civic leaders, the Pratt family's preservation and conservation efforts reflect their enduring commitment to these ideals. From 1915 to 1921, George DuPont Pratt served as New York State's Conservation Commissioner. He established 51 fire stations in the Adirondack and Catskill region, which the League has been called upon to help preserve. Generation after generation, the Pratt family continues to maintain interest in design, architecture, historic preservation, and civic leadership, including Harriet Barnes Pratt, wife of Harold I. Pratt. She was responsible for creating the gardens at their country home, Welwyn, and developed gardens on parade for the 1939 World's Fair. She was also an early leader and officer of the Garden Club of America. In the 1970s, Lori Pratt Gregg took a stand with preservationists in Albany to protect the historic buildings of Robinson Square from demolition to provide parking for the nearby Empire State Plaza. The properties were saved, and the Preservation League was among the organizations with offices there in the 1980s. In the 1990s, the ruins of Whitehall Plantation House in South Carolina were stabilized by the family and added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2000. Today, preservationists across New York benefit from another member of the Pratt family, Anne Van Ingen. In her role at the New York State Council on the Arts, Anne has supported the work of many preservation groups, including the Preservation League, where a partnership with the Arts Council has enabled the League's Preserve New York grant program to direct more than $1.4 million to 233 grassroots preservation projects across the state. These grants have leveraged over $20 million in additional project support and over $500,000 in donated labor, services, and materials. Whether working with their hands or with their minds, in the city or in the country, the Pratt family has been a guiding force for higher education, architectural excellence, historic preservation, and civic leadership. We are confident that the next generation will continue to carry on the proud tradition that make the Pratt family a true pillar of New York.